fresh off his charity golf tournament yesterday. Please welcome Robert Irvine, please. How are you, sir?
Good morning.
Good morning to you. What were you saying? You're on the road how many days a year?
345 days a year.
Man.
My God.
Man.
Yeah.
Unreal.
It's good. It's fun. It's no sleep, lots of alcohol, and tequila keeps you awake. It's good.
Do you travel with your own liquor?
Sometimes, yeah.
Do you really?
Well, I have a plane, so I travel on the plane, and there's always stuff on there.
So when you travel 345, you're not showing up at National Airport later today to get out of here. Like you have a plane.
Yeah, but that's not all the time. I travel commercial. I just was up in the North Pole, Norway.
Right.
300 miles past the Arctic Circle. That was all commercial. It just depends if it's military travel or whatever I'm doing.
Right. Let me back up a step. How was the tournament
The
yesterday?
golf tournament, first time in D.C. was amazing. I mean, just amazing. Well, I don't know what we made, but we had a lot of people, over 350 people. We upgraded a medal.
Right.
Which we've never done before for a special operations guy.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
So if you get a bronze star with valor.
Right.
But it took 20 years to get that passed from when he was in action to today.
Oh, wow.
So it's very hard to get that upgraded. So it took a lot of people 20 years to get it done. It was very special for the guy and his family.
I was going to say, that's got to be a pretty cool moment.
It was a moment for him, his 4 kids, his wife, and everyone there, 300 plus people. It was very emotional. So,
right.
And
that was all, and yesterday was all through, does it benefit your foundation?
Benefits the Robert Irvine Foundation, yeah. Yeah.
And I will tell you this, just in reading, your foundation does a ton, man.
Yeah, that's why I'm on the road 345 days a year. Trying to bring light to our first responders, our police officers, firefighters, nurses, EMT, 911 operators, and the men and women that wear the Clark Foundation and their families. I think they get so lost behind, and look, there are great charities out there. There where the government falls short, the charities pick up.
Right.
So.
And does that all comes out of, obviously you did your own military service.
Yes, sir.
When you weren't you like 15?
15 years old, little baby in the Royal Navy.
Is this story true that when you, in order to join the Navy, but like your mom would leave and take the bus to go to work in the morning?
Oh my God. Yes, it is true.
And little Robert
you did some research. Good job.
Would sit outside and wait for mom to leave and be like, "Bye, mommy. I love you. I'm going to go to school." And then little 15-year-old Robert, mom would get on the bus and go away. And then little 15-year-old Robert would run back into the house and just get snot slinging drunk on beer.
Drink all my dad's beer with my buddies. And then she called the house one day and like an idiot answered it. "Oh, the Irvine residence." And she said, "What the Next minute, recruitment office.
Why did she call the house? Did she just have a hunch?
I think she had a hunch that. Well, I think she may have got a call from the school.
Robert's not here again.
I don't know. But I know I picked up the phone like a loser, and it was the demise of Robert Irvine.
And
the creation, whichever way you look at that.
Oh, totally creation.
Because I look at the demise from this situation and drinking McEwen's ale to joining the military 6 weeks later,
So did she literally say, were you a bad student?
I was a terrible kid, yeah.
Were you really? Terrible kid in behavior or terrible kid in
behavior? There's 3 things I loved. History, woodwork, and sports. And I was good at all of them.
Right.
And I joined a home economics class at the age of 11 because there was 30 girls I thought might get a girlfriend. Didn't. I made a quiche Lorraine. And here I am, right? Here I am, quiche Lorraine and 60 years old still doing the same shit.
So you answered the phone. Your mom comes home. She's pissed. Did she literally drag you down to the recruiter's
Literally
office?
the next morning, because she got home at 6:30, recruitment office. And I took the test, and if you laugh, I will come over there and beat you. And that's a promise.
Okay.
Number 1 being the high school.
Just so you know, I laugh when I'm uncomfortable.
Okay. Well,
Caveat.
all right. So I may not be then.
Okay.
So level 1 was the highest in English and math. Level 5 was the lowest. I got 5.5. And the guy said to me, "Well, congratulations, you're in the Massachusetts Royal Navy. And by the way, you're going to be a cook." And I went, "Yo, yay, that's great." I'm in home economics class. And literally, 4 weeks later, I was in the Navy in boot camp.
And that was was that your introduction to, I mean, obviously you said you took home ec.
I'd been a Sea Cadet for years. So from 11 to 15 till I got to join the military, I was a Sea Cadet. So I'd go away weekends on naval ships, and you had to fold the uniform, wear the uniform, I was good at that. That's
right.
about all.
And then was being a cook in the Navy, though, your kind of introduction?
Absolutely.
To I get falling in love with it. I mean, obviously it's a passion.
Well, I think home economics was for me I made a quiche Lorraine, and that's cheese, pastry, eggs, some bacon and onions, and it made a meal. And we're a poor family. We really were poor. And 2 slices of bread, butter, and sugar was breakfast, dinner, and lunch. I mean, we were poor.
Right.
That's why my mother worked all the hours God send, and I could drink beer. But that
we could afford bread, butter, and Dad's beer.
He never went without. He never went without.
We'll lose this goddamn house.
Yeah. And by the way, there's another. My mother still lives in the same house for 56 years that she rents off the council. When she dies, it gets painted and somebody else gets it. I tried to buy it years ago for her, and she's like, nope.
So she won't move?
Nope.
Because I feel like, and listen, I don't know what TV pays, but I feel like you do okay. Like enough where you could go, hey mom, you know what? We're gonna kick up, but she won't. Like
nope.
Those are her
She'd
roots.
She'd come here for 8 weeks a year and travel on the TV circuit or whatever I'm doing. But she goes home to that same house. It's just crazy.
Wow. You know what? Good for her though.
Yeah.
Good for her. So you take home ec thinking you're going to get laid, and then you end up making the quiche Lorraine.
Yep.
And at that point, did you realize you got a knack for it?
I knew I was good at it. I took it home to my dad, and he says, "What's this bleep?" Because he was a little Irish guy, meat and potatoes, army guy. And it's funny because when I joined the Navy as a cook, actually I was a junior assistant cook because I was too young.
Right.
And that Jack Irvine, and that wasn't my name, it was junior assistant cook. And for 2 years he didn't speak with me because he felt it was servitude. I was cooking or serving people.
Right.
And he hated it.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
Is 15, that seems young to me to be enlisted.
Well, if you're a bad kid, you can do it here if your parents sign away.
Oh, you
that
can?
Young?
Oh, I had no idea.
Not at 16, 18 here.
Okay.
But yeah.
Wow.
So you end up doing that. What finally kicked your dad around to being cool with it?
It's funny. I ended up working for a 2-star admiral as his personal chef, Flag of Portsmouth, where HMS Victory is. He wanted to have a party. He invited my mother, sent a car for my mother. My dad showed up in the car. I'm like, oh, shoot, something like that. What's he going to say? Because my dad liked to drink.
Right.
And I'm like, borderline alcoholic.
Right.
So I don't know what he's going to say to my 2-star boss. I know my mother's very quiet, but, if he has a drink, what's he going to say? So I was on a pins and needles forever. It rained. They played rounders or like baseball, in the field.
Right.
They were best friends, and then all of a sudden he became, this cooking stuff is good, and until he died.
Oh,
he
wow.
died 12 years ago.
Was the 2-star guy, was he one of the, I heard you talking about that when you went in. And so, like, you're young, obviously, not a great kid. But that you had a lot of sea daddies, who kind of took
my God, you have done your research.
I don't want to.
Sea daddies, yeah. Well, that's a male or female, and there was no females at that time on warships.
Right,
it was always men. So I had older men. I was a young kid. I mean, I would go out drinking with them at 16 years old. I had a curfew at 12 o'clock.
Right.
And if I came back late, the duty officer would, you can't do it now, but he would say, you either get on the captain's table, which means court-martial, or I'm going to punch you a little. I'm like, punch me, I don't care, I'm drunk. And that's the true story. It's like, the only way I could get him back, and he was a Nigerian transfer for 2 years to the British Navy. The only way to get him back was on a make amends. On a Tuesday afternoon, we played sport, 5-a-side football.
Right.
Or 7-5 football. That's the only way I could get him back. I punched him in the wall, his legs. I got him back. But, yeah.
Were you... So when you first got in, you didn't snap right into shape. You still...
I was already in shape because I'd been
I didn't mean physically.
No, I was already in that. So I had a class of 12 people. And my uniform was perfect. My bed was perfect. Because I've been around it for so long. 11 years old, I mean, the secret, I traveled the globe. You know, my mother put me on a ship and said bye-bye kind of thing. So I knew what that system was. And I had a boss who was a chief who came up to me and he said to me, I'm going to fail you. I'm going to kick you out of the Navy. And I said, I won't tell you what I said.
For what?
I won't tell you what. Yeah, for what? Something like that. He said, because you're not a team player. And I said... What do you mean? I'm helping everybody. He said, no, you're not. My kit was put, you couldn't pick anything on my kit or anything I did. So at 2:00 in the morning, of older guys, 24 years old, I tipped them all out of bed and put the lights on. And I said, okay, I'm going to teach you how to fold your uniform, make your bed, clean your boots, polish your boots. And I did that for a week to get them in a... And then they figured out at 2:01 I was going to tip them out of bed, so we stopped doing that. But they learned how to do it, and I became that young leader of a class of 12 people. And my boss said, okay, you don't have to shave with a cold razor and water on the playground. You can be a good kid now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So...
Hey, I want you to explain something to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading, it said that when you visit, because you spend a lot of time like traveling around visiting different military bases and meeting with a bunch of different military people, that you always tell military men and women now, use the military for as much as you can because they're using you for as much as they can.
Totally.
Explain that to me.
So think about this. As a young man or woman that's 20 years old, going on a deployment for 9 months, maybe to the Mediterranean, Gaza, whatever. We have computers. In my time, we didn't have computers. We had trifold mailing, so it's one page that went into 3 ways. You wrote on it, and you sent it. There was no emails. There was no phones then. And I did a lot of studying on board ship because when I got out, I knew I was going to need it. But I was a dumb kid at school because I didn't learn, so I joined the military, and I had to relearn everything. So I say, while you're in it, you're getting paid to learn. Not only your job, but whatever else you can learn. And if you wanted to be, if I was a cook and I wanted to be a linguist, I have to learn that and get out and pay where I'm getting paid $20,000, $30,000, $36,000 in the Navy. I could be making $100,000 on the outside. So I use that as a look. You've done 20 years, but what have you done for 20 years? I did radio for 20 years. It pays me this. Okay. Why didn't you do computer or a cryptology on the side and make $150,000?
I've done neither of those things on the side.
Well, because you're successful. But that's the concept behind it. Use them because they're using you for service. Obviously, the nation agrees with that. We've got a GI Bill now that goes not only to you but to your family. And half of the people don't use those things that are available to them. I'm like, dude... You get 9 months. You either, visit shoreside when you go alongside, or you get on a computer and do work.
What was the transition? So how do you go from being in the Navy and learning and doing all that? What is because I'm sure you don't get out and it happens overnight. And I know you hate the term celebrity chef.
I do.
I know you're Robert who makes eggs. He
is so good. Jesus Christ.
What's the gap in that? Because I think it's too easy to just go, Navy, oh, he's super famous.
Unlike here, the Navy, I was really good at what I did, right? When I came out, there was no, let's do a transition for you. Let's, give you 2 years, do your medical. It's not. It's you sign the date and you're out, you're on your own. I worked in a small hotel owned by a football club, a soccer club, Warsaw Football Club, Division 2, like Ryan Reynolds' team.
Oh, sure.
So I worked for that hotel, and one night I said, in the bar, having a few drinks with some people, I'm like, oh yeah, you're football players. Anybody can do that. You kick the ball. It's not difficult, right? So I got asked to go and kick a ball, and I was pretty good at it. That's what my dad played for years. I wasn't as good as I thought it was, but I played for a year. So Monday, Tuesday, I would be in the restaurant. Wednesday, I would practice with the team.
You played for the team?
And played for the team, yeah. Only for a year. But it was fun. You didn't see that one. I made a little bit of money, but then on Saturday, so Wednesday I played. Thursday, Friday, back in the kitchen. Saturday, I would go to a game, either Wolverhampton or Birmingham or wherever it was. That's how I did my life. And then I got bored, and I'm like, one day I opened a newspaper, and there was an ad for a cruise line in America. And I like the idea of that.
Can I ask you this real quick?
Yeah.
During that year where you're going back and forth between working in the kitchen and playing football. Soccer or football, where were you happier?
I don't think I was happy in either play. I loved playing football because I was out on the pitch, but I don't think I was happy because they weren't as disciplined as me. You know, I was in the Falklands. I'm a disciplined guy, so I don't think I was happy. I wanted the same structure I had in the military in the outside world.
Right.
And I didn't have it.
I guess what I mean, were you happier cooking? And I mean, listen, I get it that... No, you weren't.
No. I was making breakfast. Jesus Christ, anybody can make eggs, bacon, and I did dinners and things like that. But I wasn't happy doing it until I got to a cruise ship. So I paid my £600. I went up to London. I had an interview with a guy just like this, without the mics, obviously. He's like, yeah, you can go to Miami. So next week I was in Miami boarding a cruise ship. Never been on a cruise ship in my life. And I was a sous chef, like number 4 or whatever, learning a system, feeding now 3,000 people, breakfast, lunch, dinner, midnight buffet. And I took to it really fast because, number 1, I love the water, but number 2, I like directing people. And I had this big galley, a couple of hundred chefs on it. I was really good, did that for 6 months. I was making somewhere in the region of a couple of grand a week and putting it into Grand Cayman and, going in the end of 6 months, getting a case, getting the cash in it and going home. And I fell in love with that kind of, that world. Because and this is a true statement, I don't know if it happens nowadays, but if I did guest satisfaction rating, the public health in American ports, so every time I got $100 bonus, so I never touched my pay. I was a 3-stripe guy next to the captain's cabin as a chef, living on $400, and I made a lot of money. I'm like, I can do this. So I went home for a couple of months with that suitcase of money, and I did. Had a best time with all my buddies. Had no money. They're all living in misery. I went back 6 months later as the executive chef of a newer, bigger ship and did that for 3 or 4 years. And I was like, I'm banking coin. This is really cool. Getting to see the world, Crystal Harmony, Celebrity, all those kind of ships. Then I'm like, all right, I'm done with that. There's only so many countries you can go to, so many ladies you can date.
Right.
Quote unquote.
Were you bad on the ship? That's a yes.
I was a sailor.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
I wasn't married, a single guy.
If I went through divorce decrees, would some people just say, why did you two get divorced? It would say, Cruz, Robert Irvine.
No, because I wasn't married then.
You, them.
Them, yeah. Yeah, there may be a few of them. I don't know about that, but look, I was young and single, so it didn't matter. I don't care about your life. It's my life at that point, So I left that cruise. And went to Jamaica. I put 2 hotels together in Jamaica. One was the Hyatt at Mallards Bay, and the other one was the Intercontinental. I put it together for Renaissance. So it was one big hotel. I was there for a year, and I loved it. Sand, I lived upstairs. I'll never forget it. The first day I got there, I walked through this beautiful new building. And I saw some guy, Jamaican guy, in the butcher's shop, like stuffing bacon. And so I'm like, my first day, I'm like, what are you doing? And he ran through the door, jumped into a boat, and off he was. So I called the security. The next morning, they came, the security of the hotel, but the Jamaican police, going through everything in my room, saying, oh, you have a gun, you have this. I'm like, no, I just reported this. It was kind of I stayed there for a year, and it was a tough year. It was educating Jamaicans how to cook, but also helping them get healthcare, buses when it rained, because they wouldn't show up to work. I had 2,000 people,
right?
And I'd be on my own, like, oh, how do I do this?
The story that I read about you in Jamaica is that's where you learned, like, contrast, talking to the chef, this is my life, but whatever's going on there. Jamaica, though, is where you learned empathy. And
absolutely.
That to figure out what these people are going through, they can't get to work.
Exactly. But I didn't know that to start with. I'm a military guy. If you're not there 15 minutes early, you're already late.
Sure.
And I wouldn't see them for days. And I'd be like, well, I got 2,000 people in a hotel they've just put together. And I call my headquarters, and I'm like the corporate chef guy. I'm like, dude, what do I do? I'm one person. And it was basically, that's when I got with P.J. Patterson, who was the prime minister there, the general manager, was a justice of the peace, and I said, what am I doing wrong, or what? And I had a Jamaican guy named Brother Paul. No, he wasn't a priest, but apparently he was the spokesperson. And I said, Paul, what's going on? Brother Paul, what's going on? He said, well, nobody can get to the villages because, they're out there. It's wet. So I ended up getting dental care and buses to get them to and from work. Then I became like the messiah, sorry, but it was like Robert Irvine walks on water, we'll do whatever for him. And it changed the dynamic. But it was through listening to somebody else say, I wasn't military then, like, come on. I was listening to them and their problems because that was going to solve my problem of cooking.
Yeah, right. I got 2,000 people here.
I just can't do it.
Right. Half the women I've already been in their rooms for the night.
No, I had a couple try for that, but I had my wife there. I was married at that point.
Damn it.
Yeah.
All right, let me do this. Let me take a quick break. Robert Irvine is with us. Quick break. It's Elliot in the Morning. It's Elliot in the Morning. Robert Irvine is with us. I like that you're doing Ocean's Calling.
It's one of the best experiences. It's my third year doing it.
Right.
100,000 people that do quarter turns every 15 minutes from a food stage to a music stage to a food stage to a music stage. Some amazing people, my friends at OAR.
Sure.
Dave Matthew, all these guys, the killer. Look, I'm not a big music guy, but I get so into it when I'm there. I was like,
do you really?
Yeah, just because the people. It's not them just singing songs. The people. You drink with the people. You eat with the people. And what it means when I cook is like them playing music. It's
right.
Like you doing your job. They're really into it. It's not a job. It's a passion.
When, how did you end up hooking up with them? I know that, like you said, this is the third year.
So it's funny. Justin is outside the studio here. He had a friend in the band, and then we ended up meeting him. And then I ended up going to a Dave Matthews concert, and then ended up at the Four Seasons at the rooftop drinking with Dave Matthews, and that was it. We were friends for life. But he does so much for charity and so much for people and kids. And I like those people. I like people that give, they've got a platform. If you have a platform, you better use it. So that's how I got involved in it.
And then, like, I know that there'll be like other, like, I know again, celebrity chefs and stuff. Do you like that group? Like, or do you?
There are some great people in there. Do I get to see them all the time? I'm about to do a cruise in a couple of weeks, which is a culinary cruise out of Miami with a couple of chefs on there. We don't spend time together. I mean, people say, oh, you spend, my show's over in Canada or is over here. So I never see Guy, or unless I go to his house, or it's at South Beach Wine and Food Festival. People think that we're all best friends and we call each other every day. No, we don't.
Right.
We see each other once a year if we're lucky. So, yeah, I like all what they do. I don't, I'm a different kind of chef. I can drop into Afghanistan and feed 30,000 people with nothing. I've been doing it for years.
Right. Guy Fieri can't do that.
There are people that do better things. Bobby Flay is an amazing chef, but could he do what I do?
No.
I've got 2 chefs that work for me that are way better than I will ever be.
Oh, I thought you were going to say are way better than Bobby Flay.
Well, let's go. They've been on TV and they're great. And look, I'll get a call from the president's office or first lady's office and say, hey, we're going to feed 400, 500, 1,000 service members tomorrow. And we have to fly and do it and pick it and whatever. I like that pressure. Not many people can do that.
Right. I feel like the 2 things that stick out, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 2 things that, at least now it seems like that you're very passionate about is food and health for military members and kids in school.
Yes.
It seems like those are kind of the 2 of, instead of feeding everybody, I don't want to say crap or not, maybe not having good food or good meals available or as readily available.
I know what good food is. I know what bad food is. I know what good drinks are, meaning not Coke,
like how to
Pepsi,
make them.
Not Coke, Pepsi, Monster, and all those. They're people are going to drink them anyway, right? My job is to try and educate these kids. So we just did a program in Puerto Rico, 16 to 18-year-old kids, 22 weeks, National Guard Challenge it's called, where we take kids that are selling drugs and low-income families, and we take them for 22 weeks. We put them in a barracks, and we train them for community service. They get their GED. Now listen to this. No chance of GEDs because the parents need them to sell drugs to live, right? I get the bad cycle. These kids were GPA, 4.0 GPA off the street, right? So giving them a choice, educating them in food and schooling and what's possible, that's a big thing for me. Because I know as a young kid, my background, I wasn't a good kid. But I see so much hope in these kids, not only as a community leaders, but also a pipeline to the military if they want to go into it. Or we've got lawyers from that program, doctors from that program, but nobody give them a chance.
Right.
So for me, I want to take a chance.
And then what about from the military side of it?
Well, I think. Look, I'm in the middle of it. When you were on a break, we were just talking about this. I'm in the middle of modernization of the feeding of the Army right now. But it's not been changed since 1940. It's been upgraded slightly, but it's not like a weapon or a plane or a F-47, all this new stuff. It's, we made a slight change in the purchase, but we don't give the men and women the nutrients, the nutritious stuff we need. So if you're a college athlete, which I think they are, right? We're having operational rotations are faster, longer, and we're not feeding them good food. And I'm in the middle of changing it, thanks to the chief of the Army and the new leadership in the Army.
So if I went to a regular military base, would I have more access?
You'd hate it.
Because it's all fast food?
Because it's not good. Well, it's fast food, but it's not even. We cook it at 6 in the morning and we put it in the steam table and you get it at 4 in the afternoon. And that's an exaggeration of time, but it's like that. We've got some great, and I mean great cooks in the Army that are not allowed to cook with the food that they need to cook with. So they're buying the wrong food, they're using the wrong food, they're held accountable to a 6x5 recipe card, and nobody uses it. So you're inconsistent. I'll give an example. You're a sergeant in the Army.
Thank you.
Right? I've just promoted you.
Thank you.
Wait,
what are you? What are you?
I'm a general.
Oh, damn it.
Come on. You have never been in a dining facility to run it. You're a soldier, trained to do what soldiers do. Now you're running a dining facility. You have no idea of food, but we hold you accountable to feed 2,000 people per meal. And by the way, run the money. So when the chicken comes in at what is supposed to be 600 milligrams of sodium in that chicken, and a Tyson can't do it, they send you 1,000 milligrams. Then you get a joker like me that puts salt all over it. Then
I love salt. Salt is one of the greatest things in the world, Robert.
It is, but then you wonder why we spend $10.2 billion on obesity-driven disease and 1.4 million active duty men and women.
Yeah, no, but the salt is so good.
Swim in it. Right? But it's not good for your arteries. Salt, pepper. But if you grind pepper in a coffee grinder and you get the essential oils out, it tastes completely different than it does when you take that 1 pound jar out that's dry, bone dry, and you use it. It has no flavor. Same with microwaving citrus, right? Why do we do that? Because we need the oils out of the skin to make the flavor. It's not the juice. But there's simple stuff that doesn't take a lot to do, and I'm trying to re-educate them in that.
So, like the restaurant that you have inside the Pentagon.
Yep.
Like what goes on in there?
Well, you have to have a CAT card to get in, ID card to get in.
Yeah, right. I mean,
but it's 28.
Why not? Well, go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But it's 28 to 35,000 people in there every day.
Sure.
Every nation, every 4-star president, whoever you want, is in that building. So I can capture, and that I started that 8 years ago. It started off as a $500,000 project. It ended up as a $2.6 million project. It almost bankrupt me. But it was to set an example of what could be done given the right food and temperature and all that kind of stuff. And I use that as a showcase. That's when we opened Victory Fresh in South Carolina.
Right.
That was the conduit or the model, which we're now doing on 5 big bases once the RFP comes back. So I think it's look. You can get a hamburger. I'm not saying you can't get a hamburger or you can't have a fried chicken sandwich, but the fried chicken sandwich is sous vide. Then we air fry it, and it's better than, it's like Chick-fil-A, but 10 times better. So I said that, Chick-fil-A.
But I mean, there's got to be days where you eat crap.
Yeah, I'll have a burger once in a while. I'm not a burger guy.
Right.
I don't like rice. I don't like pasta.
You don't like pasta?
No. Dude, that's just a waste of space in my stomach.
Or is that like you don't like spaghetti, but you love ravioli?
No.
No. Oh, come
I like pasta,
on.
period.
Oh.
Yeah. All the Italians out there hate me now. That's okay.
So when you go to an Italian restaurant, what do you get?
Steak. You know, I like things that are unique. Look, pasta for me is just a waste of carbohydrates. It really is. And Italians, I'm sorry, it's like olive oil. I always pick on.
Don't worry. For every one of you, there's one of me. I'm keeping them going.
I pick it up and I'm like, who's a proud Italian here? I pour it down their throat and they're like, what does it taste like? Not very good. Well, that's olive oil, dude. You know. Did your mother cook with it? Yes. There's lots of things. I mean, I eat based on how I feel. So last night I had a burger, no bun, caramelized onions. That was it. That's what I had for dinner last night. So if I'm on the run, it's whatever's on that menu that I can tell you to change. I want that with this, but not that. You know.
So restaurants see you walk in and they're like, "Oh, God damn it, Irvine's here."
I'm a pain. Yeah. And my wife's worse. She's lactose intolerant.
Is she really?
She's lactose. She's an athlete. She's a wrestler.
Right.
She's lactose intolerant. Doesn't do cheese and all that stuff. And she wants kimchi and soy. You know, fermented soy. I'm like, dude. And we're so different in taste. I'd eat breakfast every minute of the day. You know, I don't care what time of day it is. Breakfast is my meal.
So the two of you together are a royal pain in the ass.
Yes. But we don't go out. When I go home, I'm on the road so long.
Right.
We stay home and she cooks. She's an amazing cook. I won't cook because I hate to clean up.
Right.
I'm over there. I'm like, geez,
I have dishes. People that do that.
I did dishes for 20 years. I'm not doing them at home.
So are you the guy who, like, if you're doing an event at somebody's house or somebody and you're like, you know what, I would love to do this, let me do it. You use every pot, every pan, every fork, spoon, and then when you're done, half the crap's on the floor anyway.
No,
and then
no,
you walk
it's not
out.
the floor.
No, not
so I do. You're exactly right. I do use everything. But when we do dinners at people's houses, raising money.
Right.
So they'll pay whatever. And they're normally big, fancy, posh houses. You know, we traipsed in. I've got a chef that's done most of the work already.
Right. Who I hear
is
is
much better than Bobby Flay.
Yeah, exactly right. I walk in, I wave, shake hands. And there may be at West Palm Beach, there's a 184-meter yacht outside the door. This house is like something I've never seen in my life, in my world, let alone anybody else's world. They always have a cleaner or a dishwasher, or, we have a caterer that helps us do it. Yeah, no dishes for me. Sorry. And that sounds pompous, but I did it for 20 plus years. I mean.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Will you ever open like you said, you have the restaurant at the Pentagon. You've started opening restaurants on bases. Will you ever? Am I ever going to drive down the strip again and see your face and be like, Robert Irvine has a restaurant
maybe
again?
in Vegas. Obviously, we had one there and they imploded at Tropicana.
Right.
But it was a great restaurant, a fun restaurant.
And it did well for so long. It was
really
great.
So
who needs a restaurant in Vegas? Gordon Ramsay needs a restaurant in Vegas.
He's got 16,000 of them. And I don't eat them. I don't know if they're any good. I've met him once. People kind of look at me like him. I said, well, I'm the nicer version because I don't say F every time. And when I fix something and I fix it on the show, I take it off and I paint around everything and then put it back. Other people don't do that.
Right.
It's a real show, real people and real problems, and we do that. But no, I would do another restaurant. But I get.
But you wouldn't do a lot of restaurants.
No,
you don't want to be that guy.
So here's my methodology, and see if you go with this. You will.
Okay.
I can sell something in a supermarket, a product, whatever it is. Protein bars, we got liquor,
yeah, sure,
all that stuff, and making one shipment more than I can make in a restaurant in a year.
Like because you're right. You have your prepared foods.
Yeah.
You have your Fit Crunch bars. Yeah. You have your liquor line,
clothing,
or your spirit line.
We have clothing. We have drones. We have AI. We have a lot of things.
So it's easier to do. I don't want to say easier. That's the wrong word. It's more impactful doing that than having your face on a billboard saying,
yes,
come
totally,
eat here.
Because all those
and by the way,
products,
everybody in the 16,000 restaurants that Ramsay has, if he's not cooking it, it's only as good as the dude that's making
totally.
it. Yeah.
And everything that we do, a portion of everything we do goes into our foundation. So I get to do great work. Yes, we've got all these things going on, but I've got great work because I know at the end of the month, that money that I've just made is going to do something good. That's another thing that makes me sleep on a plane or sleep, when I get sleep, because I know I'm doing something good with it. I'm passionate about it. I'm not just a guy that's taking a bunch of money. And by the way, I make a lot of money, but I give it away.
Right.
I use it for people. Not all of it, by the way. Keep it a little bit for myself. But,
there you go.
But I enjoy that. But me getting in the kitchen every day for 12 hours? No. I'll stand up when I put a jacket on. The only time I cook, we did a Breaking Bread for Heroes, which is one of our programs that we run in the foundation. And twice a week, somewhere around the world, with 300 people and 3,000, we cook. That's the only time I cook. We did one in Breaking Bread in Tampa with the first responders. 30 minutes, 250 people, fresh eggs, a la minute. That's why I say I always cook eggs. I'll do that. I'll do something for somebody who wears a cloth of a nation or a first responder, because I know, and this is what really upsets me, our firefighters, they pay for their own food. Our police officers pay for their own food. That to me is alien, because they're on the job, doing a job for us, and we should be paying for that. Or the state should be paying for that, right? They're taking off taxes. They should be paying. So a firehouse is $100,000 a year in food. And I've got a couple. I've got a couple in Brooklyn, a couple in Florida that we pay for out of the foundation. And I believe that should be a state mandated thing.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Because they're putting $20 a day in to feed themselves, and the firehouse cooks are pretty good, and but why are they paying for it? They're running to buildings and saving people, cutting people out of cars. And I had one with me yesterday who we give a PTS dog to that goes on a fire truck right here in actually Maryland, just up the road, but and that dog saves his life and the crew's life. $50,000 that dog, but they still have to pay for their food.
Right.
That to me is terrible.
Hey, can I ask you this? On
you can ask me anything.
On your Instagram, are your March Madness wings good?
What do you mean, are they good? Elliot.
Are they healthy?
Of course they're healthy.
God
they're air fried.
damn it. I don't want that, though.
No, but they taste...
They look so good.
They taste way better than your deep-fried garbage. It's like you saying to me, oh, do you do turkey in a deep fryer? No, I don't.
There was something else. What is seared beef, something lobster? I don't even know what a thermidor is, but God damn, that looked good.
Let me tell you, it's like the sexiest dish on the planet. If you want to impress somebody, call me, I'll make it and send it to you. This is a lobster thermidor is a classic French dish in a sauce, a cream sauce. The lobster's poached in butter and...
Oh, so it's not healthy?
No. It is. But not everything has to be healthy.
Right.
And I don't want everybody, and I don't want the military to eat rabbit food every day because they'd be miserable.
Of course.
I want them to have choices that they can pick and choose, like our special operations guys. When they go on special operations, they have a phone, right? They can't take it with them because it's sensitive, but when they come back, all their food is barcoded, so they know exactly what they can eat to keep their operational readiness. And I want them to eat for the first 2 or 3 days back garbage. I want them to get back. I want them to have a few drinks. They could have been dead, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
I want them to live life before they reintegrate back into their families. It's the same with the military. I don't want you to TikTok march 7 days a week and eat the same thing, but we are creatures of habit. You go to a restaurant and you like something, you order it and order it and order it again because you know it's going to be good and it's going to satisfy you. Well, we don't have that in the military. We have a 28-day menu that's made by somebody else, and it's not good, but we pay $65 million a year for that contract. Why? It's garbage. We're not doing that anymore.
Last two things. I feel like I read somewhere you talked about families should, I don't want to say better job, that may be putting words in your mouth. Families should do a better job of including the family in eating and cooking and being a part of the whole process.
I do, and it's not bad mouthing the parents either. Look, society, and we got to get better at it. We have a 96% obesity rate in this country. Nobody can join the military. We have to spend $100,000 more to train these people to lose fat, to get fit, to be able to do a job. What I would say is we have to make food affordable. We have to educate, and think about it. There's 4 of us in this room. I come from England eating fish and chips and steak kidney pie. My wife is Korean. She eats kimchi and rice. You eat, from
coffee
Alabama, fried chicken, right?
Yeah.
Coffee, cigarettes. But think about that. If we can't afford a family of 4 and we have to go to McDonald's and get, quarter pounders, supersize me, you're going to die really quick.
Right.
Right. So we've got to get the retailers, we've got to educate. So retailers can do it by putting a section in their business that says, okay, we can get chicken today and we get fresh vegetables, and there's a salad choice with a vinaigrette already made, but here's a recipe for what you can make in 15 different languages. Why we don't do that? I'm trying to get that done, by the way. That's why I mentioned that. Because we can spend $20 on McDonald's because they get French fries, they get a drink, and they get a burger. That's a complete meal. It's easy. It's not as quick and easy, but it's what they can afford.
Mm-hmm.
So where you're from dictates what you eat. And as you get older, you fall into those patterns of our parents. Oh, it didn't mean it worked for me. And I have this all the time with middle management in the military. Well, it was good enough me when I was a Marine. I'm like, well, we're in a different world now. We're in a different world now. We're not putting soldiers, and we are SOCOM, Special Operations, but we're not putting soldiers on the ground for 18 years anymore doing a war over there. We're not doing that anymore. The science has taken over. It's like press of a button and a drone and it's over kind of thing. So it starts with kids. It starts with exercise, educating them. When my kids were young, I would take them to the supermarket, pick out 4 green vegetables, some carrots and whatever, blindfold them, taste it raw. If you get it right, 25 cents, now $1.25 inflation. But then I would cook it and let them try it separate. So my kids never eat chicken nuggets till they were 27. One's almost a doctor, one's a criminal lawyer.
Wait, they never ate chicken nuggets until they were 27?
No.
Oh, you're a horrible parent.
Yeah. And they look great, the skin's great, they're smart, and I make eggs. So yeah. Look, I was in Puerto Rico last week and horrified and really moved and touched by the circumstances. Since the hurricane, they haven't fixed it. They haven't, all that kind of stuff, like North Carolina. And now I understand the mindset of these kids that have to survive. And I think that's where the foundation and all that kind of stuff of feeding and education comes from, because nobody's doing it.
Dude, I give you all the credit. I feel like it could be trying to get everything done that you're trying to do could get real frustrating really quick. And if you weren't willing to bang your head against the wall, what must feel like sometimes day after day after day, I give you credit for fighting through that.
Did you see it on the side of my head or something?
Yeah.
No.
All right. I know you're back in the area. The Red Wine and Blues Festival, September 23rd,
Yep.
Army Navy Country Club in Arlington. And then, like we said, Ocean's Calling Music Festival, September 26th through 28th, out in Ocean City. Robert, I'm thrilled that you were able to come in, man. I appreciate it.
Well, I am thrilled that we sat here and we converse. That means talk to you.
Yes.
But I do want to show you this one picture just to prove to you something. So go like that, and I'm behind, and you'll tell me who's in it.
Okay. Well,
Who does that look like?
The person in the front holding the shovel? That looks like I'm scrolling and moving like I'm trying to identify anybody but Princess Diana.
Right, and if you open it, I'm the guy stood behind her, 15 years old.
That's you?
Go one more to right.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Dude, that's not bad.
Yeah,
That's not
not
bad.
bad for a young man, right?
That's me with Dave Perner, the lead singer from Soul Asylum. Very similar.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
I love it, but you're older.
What event is this?
That's on board the Royal Yacht Britannia on their honeymoon.
Are you serious?
And if you scroll a little bit, you see Charles, how young he was. Either one way or the other. I don't know
Oh,
which
wow.
one.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Did she like your food?
She loves me. And my food.
Do you want me to go through the rest of your photos?
She'll see Joe Biden kissing me and a few other people, but if you want to. But.
Oh, I want to see the picture. By the way, now he wants his phone back.
No,
You made him
show
nervous.
pictures. I'm going to show you.
What is the, the seats you had for the Super Bowl? Dude,
Oh.
yeah, that picture's awesome. That picture's great.
We were at line 4. We went to the after party. Jeff Laurie, we know Jeff very well.
Of course
we
we
went
do.
we went to the after party. Nick Sirianni is coming down the escalators. We're going in with the Lombardi Trophy. It was a rough New Orleans week. That's what I'll tell you.
All right, are you showing me more pictures or am I throwing you at it? One more picture.
One more picture.
You're going to outdo Princess Diana?
Well, I don't know if I can outdo that, but
Oh, yeah, there you are. And much to like your early days, it appears as though a mystery woman is kissing you, but I know that's Jill Biden.
Yeah, it is. And I worked for Donald Trump for 8 years in his casino. So
in the Tropicana. You're on both sides.
Dude,
You're working every angle.
I'm an equal opportunity guy.
That's
as long as
awesome.
it's doing the military and the kids, we're good.
Good deal. Robert, thank you so much for coming in.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate
So
it.
here's what I'm going to do. I'm
Yes.
going to invite you to Beats and Eats. Right?
Okay.
So you come and see how good the food is, and then you can come back and say, well, he makes good food, not only eggs.
All right. Very good. I'm going to hold you to that. Don't lie.
No, I just did.
Okay. All right. What, you just lied?
No, I just... Dude. Boom, 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 boom.